This is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 1941 from Buckingham Palace, brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given another name, a name of a dead twin. Both twins were dead, actually, who had been born out of wedlock. And the twin's name that I was given was Peggy Ann Dempsey, and I married a Childer, so I still have to use that name. I wrote a medical malpractice book before I found out about my kidnapping. I wrote it in '76 till April Fool Day of '80 when I was had antifreeze put in me and should have died. It was a miracle that I didn't. What I want to do, I was carried across the state line, let me say that, to Moulton, Alabama. I finally got a tox report on the that would have been 6th, 7th, 9th of April. I'd gone to the emergency room on the 1st, April Fool Day, and Atlanta, and then I'm skipping what really went on the hell, but I got Atlanta Dempsey, mother of the twins. Let's say I was stuffed in her car and taken to her trailer in Hunts. Well, I'm going to have to redo this. No, I'm going to keep it up there. No, I wasn't taken to her trailer at first. The woman tried to kill me over and over. She killed her twins who were born out of wedlock. The family covered it up. And then later, I want to say this, when I found out after all that in '83, my real name and what had happened, they wanted me dead then. They didn't know I had found out as much as I had. They signed illegal papers. They did everything. And nobody's ever paid for any of the crimes. So I'm maybe sound babbling at the time, but when I did the book, uh, Larry Flynt was shot, and it was a programmed shooter that shot him. That makes the shooter sound bad. He's a victim too. He doesn't know he's been programmed. He can't help it, so he's paying for a crime he didn't commit either. But Mr. Flynt was shot, and there's a question about if he survived. Okay, I was out there in the campaign to replace the doctor that I'd written about, U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald, and he supported me in that campaign in '83, October of '83. I was at his home twice, but I want to get back to this. I got the letter from the FBI. I thought it was because of the book. Dated June the 23rd, which is my father's birthday, but of course this is in 1979. Ongoing investigation, national security involved. Oh, so this is never, a friend gave me, the phone back some years ago. Maybe I paid for the phone, but he took me to get it. I'm not sure. But anyway, I began uploading YouTube, and I was on Facebook, all of this. So if you care to go back and look, there should be plenty on there, documents and everything. My father's Edward VIII, who was married to Claudia O'Keeffe, American school teacher, sister to artist Georgia O'Keeffe. The whole thing about Wallace Simpson, she married a double imposter and became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. My dad and mom were married until they died. After they were alive in October the 20th of '86. I know that. So they took down a beautiful man because he wouldn't go along with the Illuminati. And his own brother, illegal George VI, helped in the takedown. And Elizabeth has continued. In fact, Elizabeth, I saw a post of the Illuminati. Oh, yes, I did. And I already knew this, of course, but it was posts, and yeah, I know her name and the names of the Illuminati people. How I got it, I don't know. But anyway, Elizabeth is part of the Illuminati family. And so are a lot of the, I think, royal family. Question is, part of them aren't legit. Elizabeth's not. So, in the comments in the Illuminati, it was a post of the Illuminati. You had the members and all this, and they were talking about Elizabeth, that she was new blood in the family, and then they were talking about Kate Middleton, who married, she's illegal, all of them are, who married William, who's the son of Charles, and Charles is the son of Elizabeth, and then Elizabeth's the daughter of George VI, the SOB, who helped kidnap me and take down his own brother with character assassination, along with the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers. And Joe Kennedy, JFK helped kidnap me. So, it gets on the roll. And that's where it's at now. The Illuminati has taken over completely. And Great Britain's been, well, look at what's happened to Great Britain. Kidnapped the monarch, the Illuminati, the United States, inserted their own monarch. And they're not interfering in another country's government. Excuse me. So this is what I wanted to put up today, and I don't know if it's true or not. But the law enforcement got things on people, and people didn't have to go along with it, where either their children were guilty of crimes, drug possession. Well, look at it, drunk driving, or the person had committed crimes, or you go into the motels, hotels. I've been kept homeless. They did this stuff that I've put on there on Facebook that's so illegal. Well, they get infractions, code infractions, and all this on them, or internal revenue, or I don't have to explain that, how they've done it. But the point I wanted to get back to, and I have no idea if this is ever going to be told or come before a court, which you can't take it into the war crimes because the people that are the criminals control it. The Kissingers, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, you name it, and some of the my own family. And but I remember when I got the letter from the FBI and all this. I mean, they tried to kill me before then. That's on the Watergate tapes, is what's on that. They deleted who's on it and what he's ordering done to me if the Brits don't come through with the demands. So I want to get to this. The FBI, during that time period, I got the letter from them in 79. I had the antifreeze put in me in 80. And that's just ongoing. They've tried to kill me in my life. It's been a living, breathing, if I could breathe, hell. But about that time, they had articles that I saw about the FBI, and I believe it was on TV at that time too, about the FBI sting like white-collar criminals. And they were behind closed doors when they thought that people were, that the people thought they were not being filmed or offered a bribe. I think it's some of the oil people, I've forgotten now. But that was going on where the FBI, it was called a sting, the white-collar crimes. And people thought they weren't going to have to pay for their crimes, and that's what's been ongoing in this. I just want to mention, because I've mentioned it before, I'm allergic to chemicals, and that's been used to run me. I have an immune disorder, which isn't funny. It's taken out my kidneys, my lungs, etc., and it's made a continued hell. But when I was out sleeping on the Appalachian Trail and living, I came here in 86, and basically I stayed out there a long time because I couldn't get a job. My places to live, I was kept homeless. And I'm just going to give one example, that when I would have a little money and get a tent so I'd have at least something to crawl into, rather than the hiker shelter where they'd come and try to arrest me, or and they all know this. Eric Smith, all of them, Woody, what's his last name? I can't remember Woody. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. It's like someone asked me, one of the hikers, are you running from the law? I didn't commit a crime. So getting back to, I just bought a Eureka tent. And it turned out to be a cute one, and I took every penny I had. I had only been in it for a few nights, and it was close to the It's right there. Anybody in Travel, Virginia, Roanoke Travel, no Mountain Pass Road. That's the entrance to the old trail. I was right there where there's a stream at times in the winter, and I had the Eureka, and I'd stayed in it a few nights, and it was great. Isn't it something to be so glad to have a tent out in the woods with the bears and the you name it? And by the way, rabid raccoons. Uh, anyway, I went away to get water or something, came back, or just to walk a bit later, and I got back in the tent. And lo and behold, vertigo, my head was going. I suddenly just was throwing up, didn't know squat hardly. And I crawled out of the tent. Well, there was a man standing there, and he had his truck pulled up because you could pull up there to walk up the trail on Mountain Pass. And so I walked to him. I was, oh gosh, I couldn't even walk, the vertigo and throwing up. And I asked him, I think I was one to ask him to take me over that I'd been sprayed or with some kind of chemical. Well, looking back, he did it. The man standing there, he'd sprayed it while I was gone, and then he's the one that pretend to be the good guy and take me over to Motel 6. Oh, it wasn't Motel 6, I'm sorry. It was a truck stop, and it's been tore down now here in Trouttville and Daleville and Cloverdale, right outside Roanoke and the trail. Anyway, my stuff was there. I paid for a night or two there, and then I ended up losing everything because then the only water filter I'd managed to buy went missing during that trip over. But here's what I want to say here, and this has just been repeated, me trying to live and being, well, anyway, this man was just one of them, and this is one of the times that they actually told me, well, okay, I'm not making a very good video, I guess, because I feel like heck, because I'm going to tell you the vertigo. Seldom have I ever had to take medicine for vertigo. When I have, it's been light vertigo, and it's when I'm around chemicals, fumes. Now then, I'm going to come to what's happening here where I am now. I got vertigo when I came here about a month and a half ago, and I was already had some problems from the other place. They can do anything to me they want to, just about. I had vertigo so bad I didn't know. I was throwing up diarrhea suddenly, vertigo, and I tried to tell they took me to the emergency room. I had to. It was horrible. They kept me about, I don't know how many hours, 8 hours that night. And they were very nice, I might say. But anyway, I came back. I have no other place to go. Just left me begging. And 2 nights later, the fumes were bad, and I got up and went through to the bathroom where the fan is on. I keep it on to get the stuff out and fumes out. And it was so bad, I didn't have a notice. I just went blasted up against the wall. And when I slid down to the tile, I thought, well, this is the end of me. I won't get up. My bottom hit the tile head on. I mean, bad. It hit my knees. I don't know how that happened, the knee part. And it left me pretty bad shape now. But back to the guy, I'm telling you what they do with the chemicals. I'm pretty disabled right at the moment. And back to the man that sprayed the Eureka. This tent, it happened many times up there with sealants. The Appalachian Trail people who were supposed to help you were running me and they were told to do it, to spray my tent, different kinds of how they can use the chemicals with their stove, so you can guess. Now back to just one instance. The man with I had the Eureka who was standing there, and I got vertigo then. The only 2 times I've had vertigo like that was around chemicals, heavy chemicals, whatever it is. Anyway, the man told me, after I realized now he was the one spraying my tent, and he stood there and watched me when I got back in, and he took me over And I think I even paid him for the ride over, for God's sake. And then I thought back, well, he told me, here's what he told me. And I've been told this by this specific thing by at least one or more people, that if they didn't go along with law enforcement, that everybody's got something to hide there, that they can get things on them and they don't have to be compromised. And I bet this is not going up. I'll see in a minute. But this man that done that sprayed the Eureka and brought me over to the truck stop motel in Daleville, Travel. He said to me, if I don't do what they say, they're going to, what did he say now? I've forgotten. Put a hold or on his checking account. It was another word he used, and I can't come up with it right at the moment. So in other words, people have gone along because behind closed doors, and not really behind closed doors, law enforcement got things on them. And they didn't have to be compromised. They did not have to join a conspiracy against me or illegal taping of me or the horrors that they committed against me is ongoing and unspeakable, and to my children, other than my kidnapping and all that was done. So I don't know if this ever comes out to be a white-collar crime that the FBI mentioned back then, behind closed doors. They got people, offered them bribes, and they took it and all that. But I wanted to mention this after I got the letter from the FBI, and then in 80 that happened, the antifreeze. And Lina Dempsey, mother of the twins, she was telling everybody that the CIA had her phone bugged. Well, they didn't lock her up, did they, or give her antifreeze or anything? She killed her twins, and here I am, a monarch, and she's screwing me over. The psychopath. Anyway, I was forced to go back there in the condition I was in, and yes, I did get a copy finally of the tox report 9 days after all that happened, the antifreeze, and it was still large. It showed .19, and then there was something else I didn't know what it was that was put in me at the same time, and in that tox screen. But I got a letter while I was there at her place. I've never gotten one before, after, from William Webster, who's the FBI director from Missouri, I believe St. Louis, in 1980. And it kind of looked like a form letter, I suppose you could say it was, but I can't remember. I kept it. But anyway, it was signed by him. It looked like his legit handwriting, not a stamp or anything. And all of that went with my letter from the FBI and some other documents and the book where I'd gone before Revell Publishing, their board. They didn't take it, but anyway, all that was in there in a certificate, bank certificate, and the book, etc. And that was removed in 1985 with a letter. Now, it had been paid. The box rent was always paid. It was removed, and it was Burt Lance's bank there, who's Jimmy Carter's, was on his staff and big friend and all that. It was removed, and it said for safekeeping. It was all illegal. Everything done to me has been. And, I wish that it would turn out to be white-collar crime behind closed doors, because this is what this has been, not gotten into court. And you get to see who are the good, the bad, the ugly,